Base Case 038, John Cage, Part 2. I gave a little bio on Cage last week. You know, most people know him from that 433, that work, composition, in which the pianist steps on stage, sits behind the piano, and plays nothing. I mean, literally does not play for 4.5 minutes. And the motivation is to think about music performance differently. And if you do think about it, you will come to terms with some new ideas. So don't turn your back on this. It means something. But I also talked about last episode that he wrote 10 Rules for Students and Teachers. And I believe he wrote that in the 50s from Mercer Cunningham. And last episode, I talked about Rule 7, that the only rule is work. And this episode, I'm on his helpful hints that are at the end of the 10 rules. So this is like me to go out of order. I do this when I read bios and other works of nonfiction. I learned in grad school that it's okay to do this, that you don't have to do everything in sequential order. Maybe I'll come up with some rules, and that definitely will make my list. You don't have to be sequential all the time. You don't have to listen to a recording in order, track order, right? You know, you put it on Miles Davis Kind of Blue. I've got to listen to Freddie Freeloader first. No. You don't have to transcribe a solo in order. You can transcribe the bridge. You can just transcribe what you're interested in. There's no order in learning standards. You can learn an F blues first, or maybe you don't want to. The bass solo doesn't have to go last in the order of solos on the bandstand. My favorite. You can eat dessert before the appetizer. I've done this before in public. We're not machines relegated to doing things in sequence, so sometimes it makes sense to do so, sometimes it doesn't. But here's some of Cage's stuff, these helpful hints. And the one that I really sticks to me is always be around. And that keeping in mind that Cage is talking about school and students, and being around the school is helpful. How obvious is that? I have a few players that are always around. They play in multiple ensembles, they take lessons, and they are found easily when I need to talk to them or get music to them or clarify dates or just need somebody to help me with something. They're dependable players and super reliable for my gigs. And then I have others that are hard to find. I get worried. I'm not as likely to ask them to play gigs with me or play small group stuff with me because I don't know. I really don't know them. I don't see them that often. And that's all on my end. They themselves, by being around, you yourself as a student, by being around, you get additional benefits. You know, you're learning new stuff. You're understanding the layout of being a music student and in general being a professional player. I have players in my professional life that I use frequently. Then they become very hard to find sometimes, and I went with other players. What happened? You know, I forgot about the original player, out of sight, out of mind, right? Nothing personal, but the guys in reach were more accountable. And Cage is really thinking here. I am too. I'm thinking too about bass players being in high demand, always have been since I got into this. They don't make enough bass players, and they're needed for practically every type of musical situation. Think about that. Not just small groups, not just JE, but in musical theater pits, which are found in schools. Church music, you name it, you're always needing a bass player. So always being around is a good thing. Here's the next one. Come and go to everything. Now this is pertinent in music school. Go to other students' recitals and performances. Go to other ensemble performances. As Monk said, be on the scene. See what your fellow music students are dealing with, particularly their solo performances and recital labs. Check it out. Go to these, support them, learn what they're doing and what they're going through, you know, whatever their instrument. You're going to learn something all the time. In recital lab around the school that I teach at, other instructors will make comments to help improve the players' performances. And sometimes it's stuff that I think about too. And these general comments can apply to you. And you're there on the scene, right? Go to master classes that are on other instruments. You will learn something. I missed a chance one time. There was a alto saxophonist, and he came up to our school, and he was giving, and he gave a master class to the JE, and then he hung around and was giving lessons. and it was like $80 a shot or something. And I thought, well, he's an alto saxophone player. And then the JE director said, why didn't you take a lesson with him? I thought, I'm a bass player. And he was like, he could have taught you some things, man. And I'm telling my players all the time, things happen in music school that are not happening very much in the real world. Learning about things are key around here. There's an element of teaching and learning around here in school, right? That's not found in other musical situations elsewhere, that are not found in professional gigs. You come in and you play and then you leave. There's nobody saying, hey, you should do this, or non-musical situations. And you think about it, you're only in music school for a short time. And I'm including you guys that are in high school too. Take full advantage of everything in that short time. The things that you glean from it may not appear again in the real world. The things that I learned in school, I didn't see again, but they were helpful to me. Now, here's the third one on that list. So obvious. Always go to classes. Yeah, always go to classes. Always go to rehearsals. Not only your own, which you should be going to all the time. And trust me, some players are not in rehearsals or classes are getting what they need. If you're not there, you're not going to learn anything. Like I told a student one time, if you're not here, I can't teach you anything. But check out other classes, with the instructor's permission, of course. Check out other ensembles. You'll pick up stuff and you start developing the mindset of a musician. That's what we like to learn. We like to learn. I can't think of a single musician that operates at a high level that doesn't like to teach and learn. Serious musicians like myself and my cohorts, we all generally have the same mindset that we like learning stuff. We like bettering ourselves just as players, and then just general stuff too. You can email me at phil@basscase.co. I'll talk to you soon.